cheesy stuffed biscuit, garlic bread. What it do, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, family. Today we doing cheesy stuffed biscuit garlic bread. Right here you have the grand biscuit. That's what I'm busting open. You know you got to bust that thing open. I don't know about you, but I be scared every time I open some biscuits, but I got them open this time. What you want to do is separate the biscuit. You know, you got one whole fat biscuit. We want to tear that biscuit in half because we don't want it too doughy, too much, So you just break it in half, spread them all out over your pan, all around until you get them all peeled apart. All of the biscuits must be peeled apart. Now I got this recipe from Stove Top Kisses. So I'm going to try it out for you guys so you can see how it really turned out, and I can let you guys know from myself if it turned out right and good by using her recipe. So here we go. I'm almost done separating all the biscuits because you got to make sure all of them is separated. Split them in half. Don't forget to split them in half. Do not try to make these biscuits out of that one whole fat biscuit, or I don't know what to tell you. It might not come out right. Don't come back to me if it don't come out right. I told you what to do. Split those biscuits in half. After you do that, you see what I'm doing right now? I'm spreading it just a little bit apart so when I get ready to put my stuff that goes in there, it'll be open enough. So right here, I have some garlic powder. Do you have garlic powder at home? I know you do. If you don't, just go to the store and get you some. But what I'm doing right here is filling up a half a cap full. Only half cap full. Don't fill up the whole cap. We don't want to be eating garlic and tasting garlic and smelling garlic all day. Just a half a cap full twice. Do that twice. So basically you're using like one whole cap full. Basically, I just did it twice just to make sure I followed the recipe. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm doing. That's all I want you to do is just follow what I'm doing because that's what I did. Here we go. I got some Italian seasoning right here. Use 2 half capfuls just as I did with the garlic powder. If you want, you can fill it up a whole cap full, but to me, I like to follow directions as was given to me so I'll know if it came out right, I followed it. If it didn't, that means I messed up and I did what I wanted to do. So don't do what you want to do. Follow directions. I know you probably wasn't that good in school. You ain't follow directions, but right here, you better follow directions if you want it to come out right. Because if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. It ain't gonna taste right. It might not taste right. So right here is what I have, a stick and a half of butter in this blue bowl right here. That's what I'm stirring in there, the Italian seasoning and the garlic powder in that butter. Now if you have some honey, which I seen her put honey in it, she said you don't have to put it in there if you want to, but if you want to, add it. So you know me, I added it. I didn't have no honey at home, so I used a packet of Popeye's honey. From Popeye's chicken, they honey be banging, so that's what I used. So right here, I got them all laid out. I'm spreading them apart, just like I told you to like pull it apart, like stretch it a little bit. And then I'm putting my little butter spatula, whatever this called, and dipping it inside my mix and putting it onto my biscuit. Then after that, I'm putting my cheese. You can use whatever cheese you want to use to put in the middle of your biscuit. I'm not telling you what cheese to use. I can't tell you that part. You know what cheese you like, just like I know what cheese I like. Now I think I have like sharp cheddar, a little Italian blend. That's what I have like mixed. An Italian blend have like provolone and mozzarella and some other kind of cheese in it. But anyway, I'm using like 3 different kind of cheeses. You can use 1, 2, 3. It don't matter. That's up to you because that's your choice. But you make sure you spread this mix on all of them. Spread them apart. Put the mix on. After you put the mix on, put the cheese in the inside. Boil it up like a ball real good. You want to trap that cheese and that butter and that garlic and all that stuff up in there. You want to trap it up in that ball. Trap it and roll it up real neat and good. Now you ain't got to be perfect and all, but make sure you roll that ball and tuck it to where all the stuff won't come out, because that's the whole purpose. They're stuffed biscuits. They not whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. They stuffed biscuits, so we want to stuff it. So we want to make sure all our mix is put in there and make sure it's balled up in there. Now do all of these just like that. Put your mix on there, put your cheese in there, and ball them up and roll them up just like that. I put a little bit too much of that butter garlic on that one. That's why I had to dump some of it out. But as you see, I'm just repeating the steps as I told you. Just do them steps over and over until you get done with all the biscuits. In my head, y'all, I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope I'm doing this right. I hope this turned out right. Now, get your cast iron skillet. That's what she used, so that's what I'm using. I can't tell you to use no other kind of pan or whatever you want to use, but I know she used a round cast iron skillet. And let me tell you the reason why she did that. So they all can end up touching and baking together. If you trap them all together, they have no choice but to rise and like stick together. That's the whole point of the beautiful biscuits, rising and sticking together. So use a small enough pan or pot, skillet, whatever you want to use to make those biscuits rise together. That's what I did. I follow exactly what she did. If you don't have a cast iron skillet, I don't know what to tell you. I just know that this will come out right if you do as I'm showing you. Now that same mix that you mixed up with the garlic and butter and Italian seasoning and stuff, spread that mix right on top of the balls. After you roll them up and put them in the skillet, make sure you put them on top of the balls. But before you put this in your skillet, make sure you butter down that skillet, because we don't want them to stick and be a hot mess. So make sure you butter it, put the balls on there, and then put your garlic and butter mix on top of them after you do all those steps, because we want it to be extra butter garlic. After that, sprinkle your same cheese that you put in the inside of the balls. Sprinkle them on top. Now, we're not trying to like cake it up with cheese. It's not macaroni and cheese. It's stuffed biscuit garlic. It's like, so you don't want to just like over fulfill it with cheese, but you want enough cheese in there to make it cheesy, to make them stick together, and to make this recipe come out as you please. But don't go too heavy on the cheese, but sprinkle enough. After I sprinkled all that cheese on top, I made sure that I put like the Italian blend in the creases and stuff of it, which have the mozzarella cheese in there, because mozzarella cheese make everything more like stringy and cheesier. So if you have mozzarella, use that to go like in the creases and stuff, so it can be like spread apart and be cheesy. I'm talking about cheesy. I think that's like the best cheese to use if you want stuff to be like look good while you pulling it apart. So I'm about to put it in the oven on 350. Now it came out the oven, y'all. Look at those homemade biscuits. Cheesy stuffed garlic biscuits. That same mix that you used to put on top of them before they went in the oven. Your butter and garlic and stuff that you use that mix, make sure you put that on top of it, because that's just gonna really make it like gush up in your mouth. That, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's gonna make it better. You know, butter always make it taste really, really delicious. But that same mix with the butter, Italian seasoning, and that garlic powder, you wanna put it on top of it. I'm telling you, use the directions I'm telling you to do. The steps I'm telling you, just use them simple steps, because that's all I did, and that's how they turned out, just like this. Trust me, I was like, is this gonna turn out right? Like, am I following every direction perfectly? But yes, they came out just like this, as y'all can see. So what I'm doing is sprinkling some Parmesan on top. Sprinkle that Parmesan on top. You can use fresh Parmesan, you can use the one that come in the jar, whatever you want to use. You can sprinkle some on top. Then after that, you sprinkle some parsley on top. And the reason that's because it just make it look better. Don't this look way better than what it did when it was playing when I first showed you? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful for a picture, I'm trying to tell you. So after that, you want to cut a little bit, because remind you put all that cheese in there, so of course you need to cut a little bit, so when you get ready to pull them biscuits up out of there, they can come on up out of there. You ain't got to cut all the way, but make sure you cut enough. And look at that, look at that, look at the way it's got to lift up. Look at it. You see that cheese? Oh baby, look at that. I'm trying to tell you. Oh, it's hot, But I'm gonna bust that thing open for y'all. Look at that. I'm gonna slow-mo it up for you. Look at the cheese. Just look at it. Follow the recipe, girl, and you will succeed.